Hey, welcome to That's One Good Question. I'm John. Here's the question. Does God change his mind? There are a couple passages in the Bible that certainly make it look like he does. One classic example is Exodus 32. Moses is up on Mount Sinai with God receiving the Ten Commandments. The Israelites are at the bottom of the mountain making a golden calf to worship. God tells Moses, "Step aside, I'm going to destroy the whole nation." Moses pleads for God not to do so, and God listens. The key verse is verse 14. God, quote, relents from the disaster he was going to bring on Israel. One way we could hear that, and in fact, there is at least one translation that says it this way, is that God changed his mind because Moses convinced him not to destroy Israel. So is that what happened? Did God change his mind? Let's think that through. First, the Bible tells us that God knows everything. He knows the end from the beginning. So God can't learn new information. He also can't forget things. So can Moses tell God something that he didn't know, that he had forgotten, or that he hadn't thought of that might change his mind? No. Second, why does the Bible say it this way? Why does it sound like God was going to do one thing, then Moses speaks, and then God decides to do another thing? And this is what we would call anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism. God is way bigger than us, and he exists outside of time, which we can't really understand. So the Bible uses language that we can understand to describe something we can't fully understand, namely the mind of God. Third, so if God doesn't change his mind, why did Moses bother arguing with him? Why did Moses pray on behalf of Israel rather than just wait for God to do what he was going to do all along? This brings us to a tension between two things in the Bible that we know are true, but we don't fully understand how they work together. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. These two things are God's sovereignty and human responsibility. The Bible tells us that God is in control of everything, and the Bible also tells us that humans are responsible for their actions. Now, how those two things can both be true at the same time, we don't fully understand. One critical example is the cross of Jesus. Scripture tells us that God planned the crucifixion of Jesus to save us from sin. And Scripture also tells us that human beings murdered Jesus and are guilty for their actions. Both of those things are true. We also know that Jesus prayed in the garden, "Father, take this cup from me," even though he knew full well that the answer to this prayer would be no. Even though God has it all planned out, he still calls us to pray. He has ordained the ends as well as the means, including the means of prayer. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe on YouTube to catch new videos each week.